Hello and welcome to the Arms Control Center. North Korea's nuclear program is in a primitive stage, corresponding to the Manhattan Project, and the Arms Control Center believes that their nuclear tests are roughly as technologically advanced as the Trinity, the first nuclear test in history conducted on July 16, 1945 at Alamogordo in New Mexico, USA. The first nuclear test involved a nuclear weapon nicknamed the Gadget that was small enough to be carried by a bomber, and that's why very soon after that first test the USA was able to drop two fully operational nuclear weapons on Japan. We should not confuse the notion of a nuclear weapon with that of a nuclear test. A nuclear test, actually a crude nuclear explosion experiment, can be easily carried out in a military base, provided a sufficient quantity of fissile material exists. However, a nuclear bomb is not an experiment, but a weapon that requires advanced miniaturization methods and capabilities, which would allow the safe delivery of the weapon on the target. Actually, the worst-case scenario for a North Korean nuclear bomb is that they have at least one or a couple of Fat Man-type weapons, which are plutonium bombs filled with reprocessed plutonium collected initially as nuclear waste from their nuclear reactor. Of course, there is always a slight possibility that they have a few more such weapons. The relatively low yield of their nuclear tests is not consistent with the energy output of thermonuclear fission weapons, the well-known hydrogen bombs, although there is always the remote possibility that they manage to boost their primitive weapon by inserting small quantities of thermonuclear material such as deuterium or tritium into the plutonium pit of the implosion assembly, thus increasing the energy output. Until now, there has been no evidence that North Korea has weaponized its nuclear explosion devices, even in the form of a crude gravity bomb. Therefore, the possibility of Pyongyang possessing a missile warhead which can be mounted on a missile and be delivered on targets thousands of miles away is practically zero. For the time being, of course. The previous arguments should assure the international community, and especially the United States of America, that North Korea is currently incapable of launching a nuclear missile attack. The Arms Control Center underlines the importance of an international effort to convince North Korea that there is no threat of invasion or intervention in its national affairs. Such assurances can be materialized by means of an international committee which would attempt to offer North Korea financial and political support and sanction removal in return for a complete and verifiable freeze of its nuclear weapons program. I am Professor Theodore Liolios, Professor and Divisional Director of the Hellenic Military Academy and Director of the Arms Control Center. Please subscribe and become a member of the Arms Control Center to get your Arms Control certificate and be able to publish in our Arms Control Journal. Thank you for watching our Arms Control analysis.